You don't have to be okay all the time. That's not weakness. That's not failure. That's just being human. There's this pressure to smile, to perform, to keep everything together even when your world feels like it's falling apart. You wake up, put on the mask, answer, "I'm fine," when you're not. And the hardest part? You do it so often that people stop asking how you really are. They assume you're always strong. They assume you've got it handled. But inside, there's noise, chaos, pain that doesn't speak out loud. Some days, you're just tired. Not the kind of tired that sleep fixes, but the kind that lives in your chest. That dull heaviness that shows up uninvited. You scroll through your phone. You see others doing great, looking perfect, achieving everything, and you wonder why you're stuck, why you feel behind, why everything feels so hard for you when everyone else makes it look easy. But that's not the truth. People show what they want to show. Everyone is carrying something. Some just hide it better. It's okay to admit that you're not doing great. It's okay to say you don't feel strong today, that you're overwhelmed, that your mind is tired from fighting itself. You don't need to explain your pain or prove it to anyone. Your feelings are valid even if no one sees them. You are allowed to pause. You are allowed to not have all the answers. Healing isn't linear. Growth doesn't follow a script. Some days you make progress, some days you don't, and that's okay. You are not broken because you feel lost. You're not weak because you're still figuring things out. You're not behind because your path looks different. Everyone moves at their own pace. Your worth is not tied to your productivity. You don't need to be strong just to be loved. You don't need to be perfect to be enough. Breathe. You're allowed to take it one step at a time. Some of the strongest people are the quietest, the ones who keep showing up when they're falling apart inside. That takes courage. That takes strength no one claps for. But strength isn't always loud. Sometimes it's just getting out of bed. Sometimes it's making it through the day without breaking down. And even when you do break down, that's still strength. Because you didn't give up, you're still here. You don't need to fake your smile. You don't need to rush your healing. You're allowed to be where you are. There's no shame in being human. There's nothing wrong with needing space or rest or time to feel. You are not too much. You are not too emotional. You are not a burden. You're doing what you can with what you have. And sometimes that alone is a victory. So if no one told you today, it's okay. It's okay to be right where you are. Some days feel heavier than others, not just physically, but emotionally. You wake up, and before your feet even touch the ground, it already feels like the weight of the day is waiting at your door. Your chest is tight, your mind is loud, and your heart is tired. You're not sure why exactly. It's not one big thing, but 100 small ones. Things you haven't had time to feel. Emotions you've been too busy to face, and now they're all sitting in your body, asking to be felt. It's hard to explain this kind of exhaustion. It's not just being tired from a lack of sleep. It's being drained from pretending, from trying to be okay, from showing up with a smile when inside you're barely holding on. Sometimes you feel like you're going through the motions, answering texts with emojis, replying, "I'm good," even when you're anything but. The hardest part is when no one sees it. You could be surrounded by people and still feel completely alone. You laugh, but it's not real. You talk, but you're not heard. You show up, but no one really knows how much it costs you to be there. There's a kind of pain that doesn't scream. It doesn't break things or make noise. It just sits quietly inside you. It follows you to work. It follows you to your room. It walks next to you in public. You carry it everywhere. And yet, you say nothing. Because what would you even say? I'm struggling. I feel like I'm drowning. Most people wouldn't know how to respond. So you keep it to yourself. You think maybe it'll pass, but some days it doesn't. And that's when it becomes too much. You scroll through social media and everyone seems okay, laughing, traveling, achieving, loving, and it makes you feel worse, like you're falling behind, like you're the only one who's stuck. But that's not the truth. What you're seeing is a highlight reel, not real life. People show their wins, rarely their breakdowns. No one posts about panic attacks in the bathroom or nights spent crying on the kitchen floor. But those moments happen to more people than you think. There's a point where your body starts to speak for you. You feel it in your stomach, your head, your breathing. Stress doesn't always shout. It whispers through tight muscles, fatigue, and sudden tears you weren't expecting. It's your body saying, please slow down. But slowing down feels dangerous. Like if you stop for even a second, everything will collapse. So you keep pushing. You tell yourself to hold it together, that others have it worse, that you should be grateful. But pain doesn't ask for comparison. It just wants to be seen. It's okay to admit when it's too much. There's no medal for bottling everything up. No trophy for pretending to be invincible. You're human, and humans feel. They break, they bend, they fall apart sometimes. That doesn't make you weak. It makes you real. It's okay if you've been quiet because you didn't know how to ask for help. It's okay if you've been holding on with just a thread. That thread still means you haven't given up. You might have been trying to be everything for everyone. The strong one, the reliable one, the one who keeps going no matter what. But being that person can be lonely, especially when no one asks how you're doing, especially when everyone assumes you're always fine. And maybe you're tired of being the one who always has to be okay. Sometimes it's not just work, or money, or family. Sometimes it's a mix of everything. Too many things pulling at you all at once. You feel like you're expected to keep up with life when life keeps pushing you further down. You've thought about giving up, not because you're lazy or dramatic, but because you're tired. And not the kind of tired sleep can fix. Maybe you've been dealing with anxiety that makes your chest feel like it's shrinking, or sadness that feels like fog, or overthinking that never stops. You replay conversations, you second-guess every decision, you beat yourself up for not being stronger, and it builds, quietly, until one day it all spills out, in tears, in silence, in burnout. It's okay if that's where you are. People will tell you to stay positive, to be grateful. And yes, gratitude matters. But that doesn't mean you're not allowed to feel pain. Gratitude and struggle can exist in the same heart. You can be thankful for your life and still feel overwhelmed by it. You can love your family and still need space. You can want success and still feel lost. You might be carrying things no one knows about, childhood wounds, old betrayals, fears you've never said out loud, and now they sit beside today's problems, making everything feel heavier. But please know, you are not broken for feeling this way. Your emotions are not wrong. Your heart is not weak. You're responding to the weight of everything, and it makes sense that it feels like too much. There's nothing shameful about struggling. There's nothing wrong with needing a moment, or needing help, or not having answers. You're doing the best you can with what you have, and some days just getting through the day is something to be proud of. You're not failing. You're human. You don't need to be fixed. You need space, support, safety. You need to know that it's okay. So if today feels like too much, let that be okay too. Let yourself pause, breathe, cry if you need to. Feel what you feel without guilt. You're allowed to stop holding it all together. You're allowed to just be. You're not alone, even if it feels that way. There are people out there who understand, who care, who've been there. You're not too much. The world just doesn't slow down enough to understand people who feel deeply. But that doesn't mean your feelings don't matter. They do. You do. And it's okay. You've been holding it together for so long that falling apart feels like failure. You wake up, put on the same brave face, show up where you're expected, nod, smile, perform, and keep going. Everyone calls you strong. They admire how you handle everything. They say you're the rock, but no one asks how heavy that label has become. It's not easy carrying the weight of expectations. When you're always the one who has it together, there's no room to be human, no space to be tired, confused, or scared. You're expected to manage, to figure it out, to rise above. But what if today you just can't? It's okay. You're not made of steel. You're not unbreakable. You're not supposed to carry everything alone. Being strong all the time isn't sustainable. It isn't healthy, and it isn't fair. There's a difference between being resilient and being numb. One grows from healing, the other grows from being forced to keep going even when you're running on empty. Strength isn't about denying your pain. It's not about pretending you're fine when you're barely breathing. Real strength is in honesty, in saying, "Today, I'm not okay," in admitting, "I need help." That's courage. That's brave. That's real. Somewhere along the way, we started believing that vulnerability was weakness, that crying means you're unstable, that slowing down means you're failing. But that's not the truth. Humans are built to feel. We're wired for emotion. Suppressing that doesn't make you stronger. It just pushes your breaking point further down the road. You've been strong long enough, maybe too long, and now you're tired. That's not something to be ashamed of. That's the cost of carrying pain without pause. That's the side effect of keeping silent when you needed to scream. There's no shame in exhaustion. No shame in saying, "I need rest. I need space. I need to breathe." People expect you to always be okay because that's what you've shown them. But you don't owe anyone that version of yourself every single day. You're allowed to let the armor slip. You're allowed to sit in silence without fixing everything. You're allowed to fall apart. There's freedom in being real, in saying, "No, I can't do it right now," in not pretending today is good when it isn't. You don't need permission to pause. You don't need a reason to rest. The world won't fall apart if you do. It keeps spinning, and you get to slow down without guilt. There are quiet moments no one sees. When your hands tremble under the weight of pretending. When your mind races through responsibilities, obligations, expectations. You tell yourself to keep going because everyone needs you. But what about you? Who takes care of you when you're the one everyone leans on? You can be strong and still cry. You can be dependable and still say no. You can be a light for others and still sit in your own darkness sometimes. Being everything for everyone doesn't mean you have to lose yourself. You deserve compassion too, from others, from yourself. Letting go of that constant strength doesn't mean you're weak. It means you trust yourself enough to feel. It means you're not afraid to be honest about your limits. Everyone has limits, even you, especially you. You weren't built to run without stopping. The body needs rest. The heart needs time. The mind needs silence. Constant pushing leads to burnout, not growth. And emotional burnout is harder to heal than physical exhaustion. It lingers. It shows up in ways you don't always recognize. Short tempers, numbness, disinterest in things you once loved. That's your soul telling you to stop pretending. You don't need to earn rest. You're not required to crash before you pause. It's okay to stop just because you need to. No dramatic reason, no final straw, just your withy missing. That's enough. Being strong doesn't mean doing everything alone. It's okay to call someone, to say, "Can we talk?" To sit with someone in silence and let them hold space for you. There are people who won't judge, people who won't see your pain as drama, people who won't tell you to snap out of it. They're out there, and even if you haven't found them yet, that doesn't mean you have to stay silent forever. Even if no one else sees your exhaustion, you do, and that matters. Your feelings are not up for debate. They're real, they're valid. You don't have to justify why you're tired. You don't have to perform strength to be respected. Rest is strength. Saying no is strength. Not knowing is strength. Softness is strength. You've done more than enough. You've given more than enough. You've survived more than anyone knows. Now it's time to give yourself what you keep giving others. Grace, space, kindness. You don't have to hold it all anymore. You never had to. It's okay to let it go. It's okay to fall. It's okay to feel. It's okay. You wake up and put on the same mask again. You smile, you nod, you say, "I'm fine." It rolls off your tongue like a reflex, like a well-rehearsed line in a play you never wanted to be cast in. Because saying anything else feels heavy, feels complicated, feels like a burden on people who are already moving on with their lives. So, you shrink your truth into that one small word, fine. You scroll through social media and everything looks perfect. People are posting highlight reels while you're living through what feels like behind-the-scenes chaos. Someone just got promoted, someone just bought a house, someone else is traveling the world again. They're smiling, posing, glowing. And you're just trying to keep yourself together long enough to get through the day. But still, when someone asks how you're doing, you lie. You say you're okay. Because the pressure to appear okay has become louder than the permission to actually be honest. There's an expectation that you have to keep functioning no matter what you're carrying. You go to work, sit in meetings, send emails. You finish tasks while trying to silence the noise inside your head. You're praised for being productive, not for surviving. No one congratulates you for making it through a panic attack or for getting out of bed when everything in you wanted to disappear. No one gives awards for staying alive while your world is falling apart. But people will notice when your performance drops. When you miss a deadline, when you cancel plans, then, suddenly, you're questioned, not cared for. So you keep pretending. You say yes when you want to say no. You keep your pain quiet. You cry behind closed doors. You smile when someone says something funny, even if it doesn't reach your eyes. You've convinced yourself that no one really wants to hear the real answer when they ask, "How are you?" You're scared to be honest, scared that vulnerability will make people uncomfortable. Or worse, that they'll think you're too much. But it's not weakness to feel. It's not weakness to break. What's breaking you is the idea that you're not allowed to show it. That strength is staying silent. That pain should be hidden. That your healing should be private and invisible. Society teaches us to be resilient, but it never teaches us how to rest, how to pause, how to say, "I'm not okay" without shame. You're told that crying makes you soft, that asking for help is a flaw, that if you can't keep up, you're failing, and so you try harder. You carry everything alone. You minimize your own emotions to make others comfortable. You smile harder, laugh louder, and shrink your pain into places no one can reach. You become an expert at hiding. But hiding doesn't heal anything. It just builds more walls around the parts of you that are already hurting. The truth is, no one has it together all the time. Not the influencers, not the entrepreneurs, not the classmates with perfect grades, or the parents who seem to do it all. Everyone is holding something. Everyone has a story you don't see. People post the wins. They don't post the sleepless nights, the therapy sessions, the breakdowns on the bathroom floor. So you compare your reality to their illusion, and it's unfair, it's toxic. It keeps you feeling behind, when in fact, you're doing your best with what you've got. There's also the unspoken belief that by a certain age you should have figured it all out, that if you're 25, 30, 40, and still unsure, you're somehow broken. But no one talks about how life rarely goes according to plan. Plans change, people change, and timelines are not one size fits all. Your pace is yours, and it's okay if your version of progress doesn't look like someone else's. Some days, just breathing is progress. Some days, the most powerful thing you'll do is not give up, and that matters, that counts. Not because the world notices it, but because you did it. You kept going, even when you were tired, even when it was heavy. There's pressure to bounce back fast, too. If you go through something, grief, a breakup, job loss, you're expected to recover on a schedule. People ask, "Aren't you over that by now?" as if pain works like a stopwatch. But healing has no deadline. Some wounds take longer. Some days feel worse than the day before. You might be smiling, but still breaking. Laughing, but still aching. That doesn't make you fake, that makes you human. And there's guilt, too. The guilt of feeling sad when others have it worse. The guilt of resting when there's still so much to do. The guilt of not being who you used to be. But pain doesn't come with a comparison chart. Your feelings are valid, even if someone else has different ones. You're allowed to rest, even when things aren't finished. You're allowed to not be who you were before. Growth means you're becoming someone new. You are not here to meet everyone's expectations. You are not here to please everyone. You're allowed to fall behind. You're allowed to not have a 5-year plan. You're allowed to say, "I don't know what I'm doing right now," without being judged. You're allowed to show up as you are without putting on a show. What you're feeling right now, no matter how big or small, it matters. If you're tired, rest. If you're scared, say so. If you're lost, pause. There's no prize for pretending. And there's no shame in needing time. One of the hardest things to admit is that you're struggling. But the moment you do, something shifts. You stop running from yourself. You stop lying to others. And maybe, for once, someone meets you in that honest place and says, "Me too." Because truth builds connection. Honesty builds healing. You don't have to be the strong one every day. You don't have to carry everything alone. You don't owe anyone the version of yourself that keeps pushing just to look okay. You owe yourself the space to feel, to slow down, to heal honestly. Life is not a performance. It's real, messy, painful, beautiful. And it's okay if you're not okay right now. It really is. Healing doesn't look like what most people expect. It's not a straight line. It's not waking up one morning with clarity and strength and smiling into a mirror with hope. Healing is crying at 3 a.m. for no obvious reason. It's skipping calls. It's not being able to get out of bed. It's breaking down over something small, like not being able to find your keys because your brain is already carrying too much. People expect healing to be inspirational, but the truth is, it's hard, it's slow, it's messy, and most of it happens when no one is watching. There are days when you feel like you've made progress. Then, out of nowhere, you crash. You question everything. You wonder why the same emotions you thought you buried are resurfacing. That doesn't mean you're going backwards. It just means healing isn't about erasing pain. It's about learning how to carry it without letting it crush you. Some wounds never fully disappear. You just learn how to stop picking at them. Most people don't talk about how lonely healing can feel. You stop talking to certain people. You start protecting your peace more. You say no more often. You pull back to find yourself again. That space you create for growth can be isolating. People might not understand why you've changed. But healing often requires distance, not because you hate anyone, but because you finally realize what's hurting you. Some days you'll do everything right. You'll sleep enough, eat something healthy, move your body, stay off your phone, and you'll still feel empty. Other days you'll lie on the floor staring at the ceiling, wondering if this is all life has to offer. That's part of it. Feeling numb is still a feeling. It's your body's way of surviving. Healing doesn't ask you to be perfect. It just asks you to show up. You might find yourself angry, not just at others, but at yourself. You'll look back at choices you made when you didn't know better and feel shame, but you did the best you could with the awareness you had at the time. That version of you didn't need punishment. They needed compassion. Healing doesn't start with self-improvement. It starts with self-forgiveness. Until you stop punishing yourself for what you didn't know, peace will feel distant. There's also grief involved. Not just grief for people who hurt you or situations that failed. Sometimes it's grief for who you used to be. The naive version of you, the trusting one, the one who thought things would turn out differently. It hurts to let go of the expectations you once held tightly. It hurts to lower the bar from perfection to peace. But healing asks for that. It asks you to release the fantasy and hold on to what's real, even if it's not what you hoped for. You may not recognize yourself anymore, and that's okay. Healing changes people, the way you think, speak, move, love. It all shifts. You'll unlearn habits that once felt normal. You'll see patterns you used to miss. You'll catch yourself reacting differently, and in those moments, you'll realize that healing isn't just about feeling better. Sometimes quieter, sometimes stronger, sometimes softer, in all the right ways. There's guilt, too. Guilt for moving on. Guilt for smiling again. Guilt for feeling okay while others are still hurting. That guilt is a part of healing. But healing doesn't mean forgetting what happened or ignoring what others feel. It means honoring your pain without becoming it. You're allowed to heal even if others haven't. You're allowed to rise without waiting for everyone to rise with you. There will be days when you need to be reminded that progress doesn't always feel good. Some of the hardest decisions, leaving a relationship, setting boundaries, quitting a job, telling someone no, are signs of healing. But they don't feel empowering in the moment. They feel awful, lonely, uncertain. But later, they become the very things that save you. No one can see the work you're doing inside. That's the hard part. Healing doesn't come with awards or milestones that the world celebrates. No one claps when you finally delete the number of the person who hurt you. No one throws a party because you went a whole week without a panic attack. No one sees the effort it takes to stay instead of running. But those things matter. They count. They are the real signs of strength. There are times you'll relapse, fall back into old habits, reconnect with people you know you shouldn't. Say yes when you meant no. It doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. Patterns take time to break. Beating yourself up doesn't speed up the process. What does help is awareness, owning the mistake, then trying again. That's what healing looks like. Falling down less, standing up more. And even when you fall again, not hating yourself for it. You'll eventually start seeing the changes, subtle things. How you speak to yourself in the mirror, the way you breathe through panic instead of letting it control you, how you handle bad news, how you choose peace over proving a point. These aren't things most people notice, but you will. And that's when you know it's working. There's no final destination. Healing isn't something you complete. It's ongoing. Some wounds become scars. They stop bleeding but still ache when touched. Some days you'll feel free. Other days you'll feel trapped in your thoughts again. But that's okay. Healing isn't about never feeling pain again. It's about knowing you'll survive it. That you've survived worse. That even on your lowest days, you've kept going. People often look for the moment everything changes. But it's not one moment. It's thousands of tiny choices. Choosing to get up, choosing to take a breath, choosing to text someone instead of isolating, choosing to let go, choosing to start over again and again. That's what real healing is. Quiet decisions that no one sees but matter more than you can explain. You don't need to be fixed. You're not broken. You're healing. And yes, it's messy. Yes, it's exhausting. But it's also honest, real. And one day, it won't hurt as much. One day, you'll realize how far you've come. Not because life is perfect, but because you are finally living on your own terms. And that's more than enough. You are enough right now. Not the version you're trying to become. Not the one you wish you were. Not the version others expect you to be. The you sitting with your doubts, your flaws, your mistakes. That version is already enough. It's hard to believe sometimes, especially when everything around you keeps saying you need to do more, be more, fix more. But worth isn't measured in checklists. It isn't earned. It exists in you as you are, without needing to prove anything. Every day you wake up, you carry the weight of trying to be better. That pressure doesn't always come from inside. Sometimes it's the world, social media, family, culture. Even silence can feel like pressure. When no one tells you you're doing fine, it's easy to assume you're not. It's easy to think you're falling behind or failing just because you're not running at the pace others seem to be. But you are not a machine. You're a person. And people aren't built to be constantly optimized. You've been taught to connect worth with performance. Work harder, get more praise, be productive, feel proud, keep going, don't stop. But the truth is, even on days when you accomplish nothing, you still have value. Even when your energy is low, even when you cancel plans, even when you break down in your car, you're still worthy of love, rest, respect, and peace. No one ever tells you that healing takes time, that not all growth looks visible. Some of the most important progress happens quietly, in the way you talk to yourself, in the way you choose not to give up, in the fact that you still care about becoming a better person, even when it feels like you're stuck. That matters. That counts. You count. You are not behind. You are not failing. Just because someone else bought a house, got married, got promoted, or hit a milestone, doesn't mean you're less than. Timelines are built around someone else's idea of success, and you don't have to follow any of it. There's no finish line that determines if you're valuable, no scoreboard, no external approval that should carry more weight than your own self-trust. It's okay if you haven't healed from things yet. It's okay if you still carry trauma. It's okay if your mind still spirals sometimes. That doesn't make you broken. It makes you real. There's nothing wrong with being human. There's nothing wrong with not having it all figured out. No one really does, even if they look like they do. Most people are just hiding it better. You have nothing to prove to anyone. You don't need to earn rest. You don't need to explain why you're struggling. You don't need to wait until you're fixed to start showing yourself kindness. You're allowed to love yourself mid-process, while healing, while learning, while falling apart and trying again. You're allowed to be enough, even if you're still rebuilding. You've already survived things that once felt impossible. You've endured days you thought would break you. That in itself is strength. That proves something, not to others, but to you. You didn't quit. You're still here. That counts more than anything people can see on the outside. Sometimes, just making it through a hard week is more impressive than anything on a resume. Being enough doesn't mean you stop growing. It means you stop treating yourself like a problem to be fixed. It means you can work toward change without shame. It means you're worthy even before the results show. The kindness you give others, you deserve that too. The grace you show your friends when they fall short, you deserve that. Speak to yourself the way you'd speak to someone you love. Stop apologizing for not being perfect, for having bad days, for not smiling all the time, for needing space. You're not too much. You're not a burden. You're not weak for needing rest, care, softness. If anything, recognizing those needs shows emotional intelligence. It shows awareness. Most people push themselves until they collapse. You've learned to stop. That's growth. There is no one version of success, no one right way to be happy. You don't have to be busy to be valuable. You don't have to be loud to be heard. You don't have to be confident to be brave. You can be scared and still move forward. You can be uncertain and still be proud. You can feel lost and still be growing. There will be days when you look around and feel like you haven't accomplished much. But what about the emotional strength you've built? What about how you've started setting boundaries? What about the self-awareness you've gained? What about the fact that you're slowly starting to put yourself first without guilt? That's progress. That matters. Give yourself permission to pause, to breathe, to not have an answer today. There's no shame in being tired. There's no shame in still working on things others can't see. Not everything is meant to be shared. Some healing happens in silence. Some growth is only understood years later. You don't owe the world an explanation for why you're still figuring things out. You don't need to explain your worth to anyone who doesn't see it. Right now, as you are, maybe in pajamas with dishes in the sink, with worries you can't shake, you are enough. You are a whole human being, not a project, not a goal, not someone else's version of potential. You're not too late, you're not too early, you're right on time for your life, exactly as it's unfolding. You are more than your productivity, more than your mistakes, more than what people say or think. You are someone trying, showing up, breathing through hard days, learning how to be kinder to yourself, and that is more than enough. You don't have to do more, be more, or prove more. You're allowed to just be. You're allowed to be enough without needing a reason. You already are. Some nights feel heavier than others. Some mornings, It's hard just to get out of bed. There are moments where it feels like no one sees you, like you're screaming underwater and no sound ever reaches the surface. And in those moments, it's easy to believe that no one could possibly understand what you're feeling, that you're completely alone, but you're not. The issue is that there are people sitting across from you on the bus, walking past you on the street, working next to you in silence, carrying their own invisible battles. People who smile and nod, say, "I'm fine," when their chest feels like it's caving in. Some are grieving things they never got to say. Some are trying to survive homes they don't feel safe in. Some are sitting in crowded rooms feeling like they don't belong anywhere. It's strange how easy it is to feel alone in a world full of people. Social media shows everyone laughing, posing, thriving, but no one shares the breakdowns. No one posts the quiet nights when their hands won't stop shaking, or when they stare at their ceiling asking, "What's the point of all this?" It creates a lie, a silent illusion that everyone's fine but you. But truthfully, behind every perfect photo, behind every polished post, there's someone figuring it out, just like you. You don't always see it, but it's there. People struggling in silence. People trying to heal from things they never even talk about. Someone right now is crying in their car before walking into work. Someone else is staring at their phone, waiting for a message that will never come. Someone is lying in bed, wondering if they even matter to anyone. These aren't rare stories. They're real, and they're happening all the time. You're not weak for feeling like it's too much. You're not broken because some days you just want to shut the world out. You're human. Pain doesn't discriminate. It doesn't care about status or strength. It visits everyone. Some people hide it better, but everyone's had days where they don't know how they'll make it through. You are not the only one who has felt this way. It helps to say it out loud, even quietly, even just to yourself, that you're struggling, that you're tired, that you're scared. Sometimes that's all it takes to loosen the grip around your chest. You don't have to carry this alone, even if it feels like you do. There are people who care, people who want to listen, and if you haven't found them yet, that doesn't mean they don't exist. Sometimes they come when you least expect, through a quiet message, a kind gesture, a stranger who sees the pain in your eyes and chooses kindness instead of judgment. Loneliness isn't about being surrounded or not. It's about feeling unseen, unheard, like your existence doesn't echo back from anywhere. But you matter, even when it doesn't feel like it. The things you've survived, the way you keep going, the way you still hope on the worst days, it counts. It means something. You mean something. You don't have to pretend to be okay for people to accept you. The right people will understand. They won't need you to fake strength. They'll see your honesty and meet you there. That's real connection. That's what makes the weight bearable. There are support lines that exist because enough people needed someone at 3 a.m. There are therapists, friends, online forums, strangers turned allies, built from the shared reality that life is hard and no one can do it alone forever. You'd be surprised how many people want to help if you just say, "I'm not okay." You're not a burden. You never were. You're allowed to need support without feeling ashamed of it. Some people you love won't understand what you're going through, and that's hard. But that doesn't mean your pain is any less real. Not everyone has the capacity to hold space for others. That's not a reflection of your worth. It just means you need to find those who do, and they exist. You just haven't crossed paths with them yet. Or maybe you have, and you're still too scared to open up. That's okay too. So healing takes time. Trust is built slowly. But don't let one closed door convince you that the whole world has turned its back on you. There are people who will hear your story and say, "Me too." And in that moment, your silence will feel a little less heavy. You'll realize you were never the only one. You just hadn't found the right voice to echo your truth. But when you do, it'll change something. It'll remind you that you're not invisible. You're still here, and others are too, quietly fighting, quietly hoping, quietly healing. You are not alone in this, no matter what your mind tries to tell you late at night. Pain shared is pain halved, and healing begins where connection lives. Someone out there gets it. Someone out there is walking through the same shadows, and one day both of you will walk out into the light, knowing you survived something together, even if you never met. Some days you open your eyes and it already feels like too much. You haven't even moved, but there's weight on your chest. It's not physical. It's everything you're carrying inside, the unfinished tasks, the unspoken fears, the quiet pressure to keep going even when you feel like stopping. And still, you do. You get up, or at least try. Maybe you just lie there for a while, staring at the ceiling, breathing slow, telling yourself to move. And that counts too. People talk about progress like it's loud, like it comes with celebrations, milestones, applause. But most real progress happens in silence. It's found in small, ordinary decisions. Eating when you didn't feel like it, replying to a message when your mind told you to isolate, making your bed, going outside even for a minute. And on the days you couldn't do any of that, you're still here. That matters more than you know. There's a lot of noise in the world. Do more, be more, hustle, grow faster, be stronger. And yet, no one teaches you how to be proud of staying alive. No one gives medals for showing up on days your thoughts try to shut you down. But that's what you're doing. Showing up, quietly, without applause, without validation, without anyone really knowing how hard that is for you. You don't have to be productive to be worthy. Some days the greatest thing you'll do is survive. That's not weak. That's strength most people won't ever understand. Holding it together when your world feels like it's falling apart isn't small, it's powerful. You've learned how to carry pain and still function. How to walk into rooms and smile when your heart's screaming. That's not pretending. That's resilience, real and raw. There's this belief that we have to prove our value, that we have to earn the right to rest. But you don't. You're enough because you're human, not because of your output, not because of what you achieve, not because of how perfectly you perform under pressure. You deserve peace, even when you're not productive. You deserve to rest, even if the world says otherwise. You may not see it now, but everything you've done to keep going counts, even when it's not glamorous, especially then. You don't need to rebuild your life in a day. Healing takes time, and in that time your only job is to keep showing up the best you can. Some days that means giving your all. Other days that means breathing through the hour. Both are valid. Both matter. What you're doing right now is enough, even if it doesn't look like it to anyone else. You're doing the best you can with what you have. You're handling emotions that others never see. You're processing pain in silence. You're learning things the hard way. You're waking up to fight battles that others don't even notice. And you're doing it without complaint, without expecting recognition. That's strength. It's okay to want more, to hope for better. But don't forget to give yourself credit for how far you've come. You've already survived things that once made you question everything. You've had nights where you thought it was over, but you woke up the next day, and the day after, and again today. That's not nothing. That's a sign that there's still something in you that refuses to quit. Don't ignore that. Healing is not always visible. Growth is not always measured by success. Sometimes it's seen in how you respond when things go wrong, how you speak to yourself when you fail, how you choose to keep going when giving up would be easier. You may not be where you want to be yet, but you're moving, even when it's slow, even when no one claps. You are not lazy for needing time. You're not a failure for not being where others are. Your pace is yours, your life is yours, and your pain is valid, even if someone else has it worse. This isn't a competition. Healing isn't linear. There's no one-size-fits-all. You don't need to compare your timeline to anyone else's. You're doing what you can. That's more than enough. Stop waiting for permission to rest. Stop judging yourself because your energy isn't what it used to be. You've been through things, hard things, and those things took from you emotionally, mentally, physically. It's okay if you're slower now. It's okay if your spark feels dim. It will return. You will feel joy again. But right now, even surviving this moment is meaningful. There will always be people doing more, saying more, achieving more. Let them. That's their story. Yours is still being written, and it's just as important. You are not falling behind. There's no clock ticking against you. There's only now, and right now, you're doing what's needed to stay afloat. One breath, one moment, one step. You are not broken because you're tired. You are not weak because you cried. You are not failing because your progress isn't loud. You're human. You're allowed to feel, to pause, to rebuild. No one sees what it costs you to keep going. But I promise you, what you're doing right now is brave, quietly brave. It's okay if no one gets it. It's okay if no one claps. It's okay if you're not meeting someone else's expectations. The world doesn't get to define your worth, you do. And right now, the fact that you're still standing, still breathing, still trying, that says more than any external achievement ever could. This moment is hard, but so are you. You've survived worse. You've made it through before. And even when it feels like nothing's changing, something is. You're becoming, slowly, quietly. Without even realizing it, you're learning how to hold space for yourself, how to give yourself permission to be human, to feel, to exist without shame. Keep going, keep breathing, keep showing up in whatever way you can. It doesn't have to look perfect. It just has to be real, and it already is. You're not failing, you're fighting, and what you're doing, it's enough. They'll tell you it's too late, that you've missed your moment, that you should have started years ago, that you're running out of time, but they don't know your story. They don't know what you've been through. They don't know what it took just to survive the days that broke you. They see the calendar, you see the scars. They see age, you see growth. You still have time. Even if everything around you feels like it's speeding past, even if people younger than you seem further ahead, even if the world makes you feel like you're playing catch-up, you're not behind. You're alive. You're breathing. That's proof you're still in it. That's enough. The pace you move at is still valid. The progress you make still matters. Everyone's path is different. Some people find their purpose at 19. Some find it at 49. Some don't find it. They build it, one day at a time. The timeline they push on you isn't real. It's made up. Success by 30, married by 28, stable career by 25. That's not the rule. That's just noise. You can start over at any point. People do it every day. They quit jobs. leave relationships, change cities, start businesses, go back to school, or finally take care of their mental health. Not because they have it all figured out, but because they gave themselves permission to begin again. No one tells you how long healing really takes, how long it takes to feel like yourself again, or how hard it is to start from zero when everyone else seems to be miles ahead. You look around and think you're falling behind, but most people are pretending to have answers, pretending to feel confident, pretending not to be scared. Truth is, everyone is figuring it out as they go. You're not the only one wondering if it's too late to get it right. You're not the only one trying to rebuild something that once broke. Growth isn't a straight line. You can bloom in the middle of chaos. You can rise after years of standing still. You can fall apart at 33 and still rebuild something beautiful by 36. You're not on a timer. There's no final call. As long as you have breath in your lungs, you have time to change, to fix, to heal, to become. Even the smallest decision today could lead you somewhere new a year from now. You don't need to rush. Growth doesn't come from panic. It comes from permission. The permission to fail, to restart, to try again. The pressure to have it all figured out by a certain age is unfair. Life hits everyone differently. Some people spend their 20s lost, their 30s learning, and their 40s thriving. There's no blueprint, no age where everything magically makes sense. The world will try to scare you into rushing. Don't listen. Take your time. You're still in control. Some of the most successful people you've heard of started late. Vera Wang didn't design her first dress until she was 40. Samuel L. Jackson got his breakout role at 46. Colonel Sanders was in his 60s when KFC took off. These aren't exceptions. They're reminders. Reminders that your beginning can happen long after others have already peaked. Your story doesn't have to start early to be meaningful. It just has to be honest. You've spent so long surviving that you forgot you're allowed to thrive. You've spent so long hiding your hurt that you forgot you're allowed to grow from it. You're not stuck. You're not too far gone. There's still room, still chapters to write, still space to breathe. You haven't missed your only shot, that moment you keep waiting for. It doesn't arrive with perfect conditions. One honest step forward. It's okay to move slower. It's okay if you had to stop for a while. It's okay if the road took longer because you were carrying more. That doesn't make your progress any less real. You're still here. That means everything. The mistakes didn't end you. The heartbreak didn't finish you. The losses didn't define you. You are still becoming. Some days will still feel heavy. That's all right. You don't need to fix everything overnight. Let yourself grow quietly. Let yourself make room for healing, for courage, for peace. You don't need a map. You just need to believe you're not finished. If you've made it this far, it means something in you refuses to give up. Hold on to that. Let that be your reason. Let that be your reminder. Your time has not passed. It's still unfolding, 1 hour, one choice, one breath at a time. You still have time. It's okay. That's the truth so many people forget to say out loud. You don't have to fix everything right now. You don't need to have every answer, every plan, every emotion sorted out. It's okay to feel lost. It's okay to feel tired. It's okay to admit that you don't know what comes next. You're not broken for feeling this way. You're not failing. You're human. And being human means having moments where nothing makes sense and everything feels heavy. Sometimes all you can do is make it through the day. Sometimes just getting out of bed feels like climbing a mountain. And that counts. That matters. You don't always need to be strong. You don't always need to be productive. Some days will pass quietly, without victories. that doesn't make them meaningless. Rest is not wasting time. Taking a step back doesn't mean you've gone backward. It means you're listening to what you need, and that's strength too, even when it doesn't look like it. People will tell you to keep pushing, to hustle, to never stop, but no one talks enough about pausing, about grieving, about sitting with your thoughts and admitting you're not okay. That honesty takes courage, telling the truth to yourself when it hurts. There's power in that. You're not weak for breaking down. You're not weak for needing help. You're real. You feel things deeply. That's something to respect, not hide. You've been through a lot, more than you speak of, maybe more than people around you even realize. And still, you're here, still breathing, still trying. That matters. That's progress. The world may not give you credit for quiet endurance, but it's what changes people. You're learning to be kind to yourself, to forgive yourself, to be softer with your heart. That's a kind of healing no one sees, but it transforms everything. It's okay to let go of things that no longer serve you. People, dreams, habits, expectations. You're allowed to release what's hurting you. You're allowed to choose peace over performance. Some chapters end quietly. Some answers take time. Some pain will ease slowly. You don't have to rush. You don't need to explain your healing to